Today on Racing Legends podcast, I have trainer Jerry O'Dwyer, whose horse Sibelius just won a huge race in Dubai, the Golden Shaheen, 5-year-old gelding. Jerry, great to talk to you. Thanks for doing this.
Very welcome. Thanks for having me on, Julian.
Of course, Jerry. Well, you know, Jerry's a guy that me and my buddy Logan met at the track several years ago, and we knew that this guy was going to go somewhere because he had this great personality, and he just has winner written all over him. Jerry is from Ireland, got involved in the track, started going to sales with his father, went to the Irish Riding Academy, won over 100 winners as a rider. I think you're an apprentice under a guy named David Hanley, and then you came to America. I believe a guy named John Ennis was instrumental in getting you to come stateside, and you worked for a trainer named Al Stahl, Al Stahl Jr., great Midwest trainer. And then eventually you opened up your own training operation, and the rest is history. Jerry, is that the broad sketches of your career?
I guess, yeah. That's broadly how it went. Yeah. Grew up in Ireland. Backyard ponies with my dad, and just got the horsey bug from a very young age. So I was never going to do anything else. I was always going to involve horses one way or another.
So Jerry, is Ireland like America, where most of the people that are involved in the racing game, their families involved in the racing game as well? Is it similar in that respect?
I'd say so. Yeah. Like so my family is not involved. I'm the only one of my family in racing and in any shape or form. So I have a couple of cousins there now that are involved. They've followed on since me. One of my cousins is actually working for me here in the States right now. But we have a big extended family, and I think there's only 2 other cousins I have that are involved in racing now. But when I growing up, none of them were. And like I said, even my parents, none of them were into racing. I kind of just picked it up and just really enjoyed it. Going fast, I guess, riding race horses. You get that thrill and that buzz of riding nice horses and going fast. As a kid, you're a bit of an evil Knievel when you're a kid. You have no fear or worry or stuff like that. So it takes over, And there's horses everywhere in Ireland, race horses everywhere in Ireland. There's loads of trainers all over the country. So it's pretty easy to get a job and get involved in race horses in Ireland.
Yeah. Well, you're a tall rider. You're 5'10". Did you was that going to be an impediment? Like in America, we do have a lot of riders who are tall, like Trevor McCarthy. There's quite a few. Forrest Boyce in Maryland, she's tall, but a lot of the riders here do really well are tall. Is that common in Ireland as well?
Well, it's not so much. I mean, so I'm tall, all right, but you have to take into consideration the riding weights in Ireland and Europe in general are a bit heavier than they are than here in America. Like you see, like a lot of 118s here in America. Kind of like when I was riding 120, 121 was the lowest weight I'd be doing, to try to stay comfortable and competitive. But, in Ireland, in Europe in general, there's a more of a handicap system. So they really go well up into pounds, well above 120. You could have a horse carrying 130. So, yeah, it's a little different and a little easier when you're a bit taller and a bit heavier back there. I think that's what encouraged a few, American riders back in the day to go over to Europe and that. Like I think Cassius Musin springs to mind as well. I think he would have been a bit heavier in that and found it easier to do well in Europe with a little heavier weights.
Yeah, I think even Steve Cawthon may have even tried it, but that's way before your time. Now the Irish Riding Academy have a lot of good riders come out of that place.
They do, yeah. They have a great program. For instance, the course I was on 98, 99. There's lots of guys still riding from that. Tygo Shea is probably the most notable one. He's been champion jockey in the UAE, which is Dubai, 11 times now. So he's, big accomplishment, great friend of mine, very happy for him, works very hard at it. And, it's just a great guy.
And Jerry, sometimes we watch the different styles of the European riders, and some of them can be very high in the saddle, and they appear like they're even sometimes hopping on the back of the horse when they're in the drive. Is the style just looks different to an American, or do you think there's a difference in efficiency between the American style and the European, maybe even the Irish style?
Yeah, there is a big difference. There's no comparison to them at all. So in Ireland and Europe, I'll just start again. In America, the tracks, they're all flat oval, left-handed. There's no undulations. So it's a lot easier to stay low and smooth and just basically pump your arms and your upper body. And that works very well over here in America. Whereas in Europe, the tracks are a lot more undulating. There's different tracks every day. They go right-handed, they go left-handed, they go uphill, they go downhill. And the riders just ride a little different. You know what I mean? They're kind of trying to go in with the rhythm of the horse. And the horses in Europe, they're switching leads of their own accord to the left and to the right. Whereas here in America, they're on their left lead going around the bend, and they're on the right lead going down the back side and down the front side. So I think a lot of it's got to do with their style of racing. And the riders in Europe, they're taking on their styles from their predecessors, from people who've been there before them. And everybody there is a little bit more loose, I guess. But you look at like Ryan Moore, who's like worldwide good. There's ridden horses everywhere. He doesn't ride like an American. He's a European rider, maybe a little bit of a longer rein. Not as tight a hold as her head, maybe not crouched down as much. But he's very effective. Horses run for him, and then there's a lot of very good European riders. I guess the other good European rider who has an American style would be Frankie Dettori. But like he was always in awe of like the likes of Angel Cordero, who had that low style. So, and he's been very well accepted and a very good jockey worldwide as well. So there's no denying that both styles work and both styles are very effective. But when you see European rider here in America and the States, automatically punters and race scores and spectators, they think like, who is this monkey jumping around on this horse's back? Because they're so used to seeing that low, quiet style. But again, it's just for people to open their eyes and realize there's more than one racing style, whether it's Europe or the Middle East or America. You go to the Middle East there, the Dubai, you get jockeys from several different continents, and they all have a bit of a different style. Even Japan has a big different style as well. They definitely up and down a bit more. Same Australia, they have a kind of a windmill style, and every continent and every country seems to have a little bit of different style, and it's kind of what we're used to seeing. We think that's the right way, but there's more than one right way. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's like soccer. Every country has a different interpretation of how to play the beautiful game. Jerry, have you ever seen a rider in America, watched him ride, and you thought, man, that guy would do well in Europe? Like his style to you reminded you of a rider that you would see overseas?
There's not many of them that have a European style when they're here in America. Now, there's plenty of good riders here in America. I would have they'd have no trouble adapting to European racing. There are some very, very good riders here in America that would do anywhere in the world. They just, it's a talent they've got. They've just got that natural ability to adapt and to adjust. And any of the top 20, maybe top 30 jockeys in this country could easily adapt to European racing. I mean, that's just what they do. That's why they're up there at the top of the tree. They make things happen.
Yeah. Yes, well, definitely so. Well, Jerry, do you think your experience as a rider, particularly an Irish rider, is it influenced the way you train horses? You think it's been a advantage to you, your experience?
I think it's definitely helped me being able to ride. Now, I don't think it makes much difference that I'm a European rider, European style, but I definitely has helped me figure horses out. If I, because when you're standing on the ground, me to be a trainer, first of all, you don't know everything straight away. You have to try figure out and see what you're looking at. But me being able to ride them, I'm able to compare to what I'm feeling underneath me to what I'm seeing visually on the ground. That I think has helped me a lot, and so I can see on the ground what I know I'm feeling under back. Basically, I still ride a few myself, not every day now because we're a lot busier. We've horses in Kentucky and horses in Florida, and we've got some running in Pimlico this weekend. So I'll be doing a lot of traveling now around to different places, but we've got some great help. And so I'm very confident when I leave that the job is getting done right on my way, and my instructions are getting carried out the way we want them to.
Have you been on the back of Sibelius?
I have many times, many times. Yes.
So Jerry, why did you decide to quit riding, and why did you get into training?
Well, I decided to quit riding because I wasn't good enough. It was simple. Some guys have got it. I tried. I loved the riding, and I really enjoyed it. Loved the camaraderie with the guys in the jocks room. They're like a family in there. When they go out on the track, it's competitive, but once that race is over, everybody is all looking out for each other. I did miss that part of it, but again, I wasn't as talented as you need to be to make a good career out of it. I made a living, but that was it. I enjoyed it, and it took me a while to realize that I wasn't gonna stay doing it. And when I did give up riding, I was like, okay, well, I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. I was never going to get out of horses. Training crosses your mind, the pin hooking, the breeze ups. You go work on a farm. There's so many things you can do with horses. So I said to myself that I'd take a year to just relax and just ride out in the mornings and breaking yearlings in the afternoon and going with my friends and having a bit of a life. When you're a jockey, you have to be very dedicated. You're watching your weight the whole time. You can't be going out, staying out partying, and the breathalyzers never in for the track the following day. So it's you can't be going out partying until 4 a.m. and then try to go and ride in the afternoon the following day. It just doesn't work. This sport has gone very professional now, all for the better. All these riders and stuff, they have to work at it. They have to hit the gym. They have to have a clear mind and be focused and be very talented as well to make it to the top and make a good living out of it. So, when I gave up the riding, I was like, I'll take a year, see what I want to do. And I worked for some great people. Like you mentioned, David Hanley, who I was apprentice at first. He got me a job over in America with Niall Brennan. I said I wanted to experience all I could for a year before I decided what path I wanted to take. And I went to Ocala. Niall Brennan is a great 2-year-old guy, pin hooker, and prepares him for the breeze ups, and a very, very good horseman. So David Hanley got me a job with him for the winter in Ocala, and I worked with him in the farm and went to the sales and rode the breeze up horses. I didn't breeze them now in the sale, and some very good guys, better riders than me, got to do that. But I got to experience a lot and see how it all works. So I really enjoyed that, learning from good people. For Al Stowell, great guy, great horseman, worked for Bill Mott for a couple of months. Andrew McKeever, spent a summer in Saratoga working for Owen Harty. We've just been around all these good trainers, good horses. If you're willing to learn, you will pick it up. If you got a question, every one of them will help you and answer it for you. And like some of these guys, if I can't figure a horse out, I'll still ring them up and try get them to help me. And every time they'll always give you a little something to help you along. It's a big industry, and I don't care what trainer you are, you will not figure every horse out on your own. Everybody needs a little help with some of them along the way, and just don't be afraid to ask for help. Even your rider or your assistant, they'll pick up on something or they'll suggest something to you, and we're not afraid to try it for the best interest of the horse. It's not about your way is the right way. It's about finding the best way for the horse.
When you first started working for American trainers, and you work for some great ones, obviously, Bill Mott, as you just said, and Al Stahl and the others, was it radically different from what you had learned from David Hanley? Were you like surprised how different it was, or was it actually very similar?
No, very different. The style of training in America is very, very different. Just how they train them, the kind of speed. They have to have great early speed here in America, because racing in America is very fast early on. Like most of those races, especially on the dirt, the first half of the race is faster than the last half most of the time. Whereas in Europe, it's the other way around. You jump out of the gates and everybody takes the time, gets a position, and starts riding a race. And then the last 2 furlongs is the quickest part. Whereas in America, usually the first 2 furlongs is the quickest part. So it's very different, and you have to train your horses for that. And if you don't have gate speed in America, usually it's hard to get into a race and get winning. I mean, they usually have to have a bit of gate speed to give yourself the best possible chance of being in the best position to win each race.
Yeah. Do you think some of the things you learned though in Ireland give you an advantage over here? Because I mean, let's face it, you probably think more outside the box and try different things based on your experience than trainers that are raised in the American racing culture.
Yeah, we definitely try things, and I've just great European trainers, and you see it. They'll ship them over for the Breeders' Cup, and they win races over here. I mean, but they know when they're bringing them horses over here that they've got to tweak little things at home. They know that the races in America are not going to work out the same way as races do in Europe. So, sometimes you will try some European things with your horses. If it's the American way is not working, you try something different. But learning, I think it's a big advantage to anybody who can work for different people who think differently, who do things differently. It has to be an advantage. The more knowledge you have, the greater advantage you have to have. The more different ways to do things.
Yeah. Well, we talked about the training as in the workouts and the speed of the training. What about the nutrition, and what about the other things like the ice, how you treat inflammation in knees and ankles? What are some of the other things? How the farrier works with the trainer? Are those things very different as well in Europe?
No, they'd be pretty similar over here. Ice is used worldwide. Maybe a bit more cold water hosing back home in Ireland, more ice here, maybe stuff like that. But I mean, there's great horsemanship on both continents. There's always a way to take care of it, and ice is a big thing in every country, I believe. But yeah, it's kind of they're similar in how to take care of them in that sense.
Yeah. Well, Jerry, so when you decided to become a trainer, have your own stable, trainers are like real estate agents. There's so many of them, and you don't really know how to pick one out from the other. I mean, all of them could probably do a pretty good job. You choose your trainer, someone that you have a good feel for, you like the person, or that they're just wildly successful. There's a lot of things that go into it. When you first started to decide to be a trainer, how'd you decide how you wanted to define yourself? I mean, when I met you, you have a great personality. You have good interpersonal skills. You're Irish, so you're different. So that made you unique. I remember when we were talking to you, we were talking about Ireland that first day I met you and stuff. How did you decide how you're going to get clients and how you're going to make yourself different from the other trainers?
Well, basically when I started off, I had a couple of horses of my own that I owned, and I just started saying, well, if I can get to win with those and make a little bit of money, and once you start having winners, people start taking notice, and I went up to Maryland with 3 horses, and we just started slowly building up from there. Um, like Dan Heim, who runs Designated Hitters, he was kind of one of the first clients that came to me in Maryland. He saw how hard I was working and being back at the barn every evening checking on the horses, and he liked that, and he took interest. And I'm very thankful for him. We had some great success. We bought some horses, yearlings, 2-year-old sales, and we've been very lucky. We won stakes together, and in very good times. And not with a big budget, but we were. It's fair to say we're very successful together when we were buying horses and doing well. I think we won a stake at Churchill, as well, with the Kentucky Juvenile, which is huge. For I think we bought the horse for 15,000 as a yearling.
Wow.
And he won first time out at Laurel, and then he came on when he second start in that stake at Churchill. Yeah, so he was definitely one of the first people to take notice and help me out, and they've done a great job. They're still up there in Maryland, and good partnership, good people, and he spreads it out that he lets anybody get involved with him. So they're doing good things there for Maryland.
Yeah, they did. You guys had tremendous luck together. It's good to see people that have good luck that are willing to give someone a shot like they gave you. So when you built your stable, you had 3 horses of your own, and did you have a clear idea of what kind of trainer you wanted to be? You worked for lots of good trainers. Did you have a clear definition of what type of trainer you were, or do you just kind of learn as you go because you're building your stable and you're learning from each horse? So did your style of trainer, did it evolve, or did you have a clear style when you started training?
No, you always evolve, you know what I mean, and you have to adapt to certain horses as well. Like my end goal was, like, I could still have a bigger stable with lesser type horses, but I prefer to focus more on quality over quantity. I mean, you get the biggest thrill out of winning better races. We had lesser horses when we started off, and I'm very grateful for them. But you have to start small and hopefully build up, and you kind of get better bred horses, more talented horses. And we only have like 20, no, not even 20. We have like 17 horses at the moment, and there's a grade 1 winner in the barn. There's a grade 2 and grade 3 placed horse in the barn, and we've got like 8 2-year-olds which are unraced, and hopefully some of them are graded stakes winners. So we have a small bunch, but a good quality bunch of horses in the barn right now. And I think of my biggest flaw is probably being too honest with the owners. If you send me a horse, and I'll just kind of assess it and tell you where it fits, and I'm kind of quick to know, in the sense that I don't want to keep telling you your horse is a maiden special weight when I know my heart and soul is a maiden 25, and we keep running it in the maiden special weight, and it runs okay, but it's just not, because horses are expensive to keep, and I just don't like wasting people's money unless they're going to think they're going to get a return, whether it's financially or enjoymentally. There's, you keep running down the field, it's not good financially, and it's no fun either emotionally. But if you can win even a maiden 25, you still get the money back, and it's a huge thrill when your horse wins. There's probably no better feeling than you owning a horse, however little a piece of it, it's yours, and it crosses the winning line first, and you stand in there for that picture. Everybody's smiling, everybody's congratulating you, everybody's happy for you. And that feeling you get, it's hard to describe until you've been there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a wonderful feeling. And what you said is true, in that, horse racing is kind of a game of dreams. And the problem with those dreams get shattered quickly when the trainer is not honest, because what happens is you end up, the luck will change, things go wrong. And then the person is unhappy with the sport, gets out of the game, loses all their money. But it's difficult. As you know, when I was in the game, Damon trained for me, and he was a very honest guy as well. He never told you the horse was great. And I think sometimes if you want to get a lot of horses, you have to tell people what they want to hear. And I think it's hard sometimes when you're honest with people, sometimes they just don't want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, I get you, but I mean, look, that's just the way I am. And like Damon is super trainer, great guy, is right by the horses and the people. And I mean, that's the kind of trainer I want to be known as. It's someone, you know, if you send me a horse, you're going to get a fair assessment and a fair rub of the green. There's going to be there's no BS in our barn about the horses. I'm not going to tell you your horse is a superstar when I know he's not. You know, there is horses, you know, some horses will make a liar of you. You know, they're not showing much at home. Next while you run them first time out and they surprise you. They run so much better. And the
I thought you said he couldn't. I thought you said he couldn't run, Jerry.
Exactly. You know, I mean, the light bulb goes on, and you know, you know, but like 99% of them will at least show you a glimmer of hope in the morning if they have it. If it's in there, you will see it at some stage in the morning. You know, but there's that odd 1% that will, you know, will show up maybe and surprise you. But there's very few of them that surprise you in the afternoon.
Yeah. So Jerry, are you still based in Maryland? And do you shuttle between Maryland and the fairgrounds? Maryland in the spring, summer, and fairgrounds?
No, we left Maryland about a year ago now, maybe a year and a few months ago. Myself and my wife, we've got a 2-year-old daughter, and we kind of wanted to raise her in Florida, so we moved everything to Florida there over a year ago. Are based at Palm Meadows. I've got all the 2-year-olds there and a few other older horses, and we have 5 horses in Kentucky as well, at Keeneland. So they're kind of going to be our bases. We're going to have a spring in Florida kind of year round and keep the 2-year-olds around there until we can assess them and see how good they are. And we might take some of those north, that ones that feel can do well up there. And we'll always try have a string around Kentucky and maybe take a few to Saratoga for the summer if they're good enough. But they're kind of going to be our place. We're going to be Florida, Kentucky circuit. This is going to be our circuit, and then hopefully Saratoga. Well, once you've got good horses, you're going to have to ship anyway. So wherever their suitable races are, and we don't mind that. We don't mind shipping when we've got good horses, and we try to only ship when we've got a live shot. So, like for instance, this weekend we've got one horse running at Pimlico in the Pimlico Special. So, and he's in Kentucky at the moment. He's been training there, and he ran there at Keeneland last month. So, we're giving him a shot in the Pimlico Special. He's a very nice horse. It's going to be a very tough race, but we feel he's live and deserves these shots. So, you know, it's a good money race. It's worth 250,000. So for him to get a piece of that it'd be huge. You know, he's already graded stakes placed. So to get him a graded stakes win is our plan for this year. He's owned by Cheyenne Stables. They've been great supporters of me for the last maybe 5 or 6 years. They've always sent me 1 or 2 horses every year. We've done very well. Some that weren't doing well we sent home, and they retired them and got them new careers and jobs, and they're great people to deal with. They take the good with the bad. But like I said, you know, we that's what we do it for. We want to have nice horses for the big days, and you know, it's always exciting when you think you have a horse good enough that can ship somewhere for one of these graded races.
Yeah. Well, you know, the weather in Florida, I'm sure reminds you of those rainy days in Ireland. And Jerry, are you excited about seeing your friends back in Maryland when you come to Pimlico?
Oh yes, I still have some great friends up there that I talk to regularly. So you know, we still like going back to Maryland. I've got some great people up there, and I had a great time up there. Everybody was very good to me, and I'll be always grateful for Maryland. It really helped me get going, helped me establish myself as a trainer. You know, of all caliber of horses. You know, we've had winners from, you know, maiden 10,000s to stakes winners up there. So we're very grateful, and I'll be still taking plenty of trips back there.
Yeah. Well, Jerry, you had some disappointment in Dubai. You took your horse Shotski over there, and because of the pandemic, the race never went down. But you had an amazing moment when Sibelius won a $2 million race, I believe, under the great Ryan Moore. Tell us a little bit about the low moment with Shotski, but then also about Sibelius, how you're able to purchase him, and it must have been an amazing moment winning that race.
It really was. Yeah, in 2020, we went out with Shotski. I think he was going to be like second favorite for the UAE Derby, and unfortunately, the pandemic struck and everything was cancelled. It was disappointing for me and our staff, but for everybody else involved. But we took it on the chin and we came on home, and getting Sibelius out here then this year was sweet redemption, I guess, is the best way to say it. He was we've had Sibelius since a young horse. I remember seeing him as a yearling at the sales, and the owners, they bought him as a weanling to sell him as a yearling, and a little vet issue kept people off buying him as a yearling. So they decided to keep him and to send him to me, and we get him all the time. Actually, after the vet was saying he had a little bit of a bony issue, so they did right by him. They took him home and gave him time off, and since he's been back in training, he hasn't missed a beat. He's been super, and there's been plenty of people have tried to buy him since, and the owners just kept saying no, and people kept firing more and more money at him, and they just kept saying no, we've come this far now, and they wanted to support me, and they love the horse. So I'm very grateful for them to keep the horse with me, and and not selling him either. Keeping him in our barn, then going out to Dubai, and just it was just a perfect moment. We had a great time. The owners were out there with us, and we just had a unbelievable time. The whole lead up, the whole build up, everything went very smooth, and Dubai took great care of us and put on a great display and a great show for everyone. And then for the horse just to go and win and come out the right side of a photo finish, beating my good buddy, one of my best friends, in Ty Gaucher, who won the race last year on that same horse called Switzerland, and we just denied him by a short head this year. And I joked with him after, we were apprentice together in Ireland, and we used to ride against each other, and I told him it's only taken me 20 years, I said, but I finally beat him. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, for anyone who thinks that jockeys don't matter, what about that ride for Ryan Moore? I don't know how many riders could have won. I'm not taking anything away from the horse. It's a tremendous horse, but that ride, he didn't break great, but that ride was about as perfect as a ride could be.
For sure. I did, that was the only blemish in the copybook for the whole trip, was when he broke bad. I'm not used to seeing him being that far back in a race. But like Ryan Moore, he's worldwide one of, if not the best jockey in the world. Just gave him a masterclass ride the whole way down the inside. He niggled him into the race, finessed him into the race the whole way. Had to check once coming out of the bend, and then when those horses drifted out, he just kept the whole way down the inside, and the horse in front of him just drifted off the rail, so he didn't have to change lanes, and Ryan just galvanized him the whole way to the line, and it was a sight to see, that's for sure. He is just phenomenal.
Well, I was cheering for you. Have you been able to pick out his next race? I know you had tentatively wanted to race in Churchill Derby weekend. That didn't come off. Have you decided what's next for him?
We've not fully yet. We're letting him do the talking. He had his first breeze back there Friday. Went very nice. I was going to give him another week before I breezed him back, but he was jumping out of his skin, so we said we better take a little bit of gas out of him. And he just looks super. We just didn't want to rush him back after doing so good out in Dubai, and that long trip back, can take plenty out of him. So he had some green grass when he got home, and then he was back into the barn, and he just had a light week of jogging, easy week of galloping, and then he had a breeze. So look, there's a couple of spots. There's another spot coming up on the 3rd of June at Churchill. The 3Ds is called, I think, and then the True North is the following week at Belmont. He might go there. I mean, this is all. We're not going to commit to anything. We're just going to play it by ear. Our end goal is the Breeders' Cup Sprint. So we're just whatever we get in between that is all good. But he might have 2, 3 max before that this year, I'd say.
Okay,
But probably 2 or 3 max.
okay.
So but the Belmont day is probably the highest possibility at the moment.
Okay. Well, good. That's exciting. I look forward to that if it works out. But look, Jerry, this has been great. I'm so happy for you for your success. Anyone who meets you knows that you're the honest guy, a talented guy. For you to have this kind of incredible success so quickly is amazing. And you worked hard for it. You paid your dues. But it's so good to see like you're doing so well. And every time your horses run, I always cheer for you. If I don't have a couple dollars on them, I definitely am cheering for you anyway. So I just really appreciate you doing this.
Well, thank you very much for having me on. I'm glad to see the show is going well for you, and you've had some great guests before me, and I'm sure you'll have some great guests after me.
Yeah, well, that's nice of you to say, Jerry. And maybe hopefully at some point we can check in. Maybe after you win the Breeders' Cup, you'll come back on and we'll talk about that race.
That's a deal.
Okay, Jerry. Look, man, thanks for so much of your time. Have a great rest of your day.
Julian, thanks very much. Have a great day. Bye.
You're welcome, buddy. Take care now.